Hi, my name is Karen Dean, and I'm going to answer a few questions that could be posed on an interview. Okay, my first question is, how do you deal with stress on the job? For me, stress is relative to each individual. Personally, I have learned not to allow the stressors at work to impact me on an emotional level. I've learned in my experience of working that it's just best to look at the individual situation, find out the best way to resolve the issue, and move towards that resolution. I try very hard not to take anything on a personal front because it's business. And once you have that understanding, it's easy not to fall victim to being stressed out. I'm not influenced by coworkers to the point where I begin to feel what they feel. I begin to experience what they experience. I may listen and try to be objective. I'm very cautious about um, the type of responses that I may give or may not give, but I don't take any of that personal. So for me, stress is really at a minimum, no matter what job I work with. My next question is to tell me about a situation where where you as a team leader and you had to make a tough decision. Well, in my previous career as a massage therapist, I also was responsible for training, and I was also a supervisory lead in that position because I had been there for so many years. I often had employees coming to me complaining about one thing or another, and I would try to steer them in the proper direction of a resolution. Now, when that did not happen to my satisfaction, I did counsel with the employee. I let them know where the problem was. I let them know what's the best way to resolve the problem. If it persisted from that point, then I would go to my supervisor, my immediate manager, and explain what was going on. Also explain what I did to resolve the problem, so that perhaps a written written reprimand could take place. My intention was not ever to make somebody lose their job, but if something inappropriate in particular happened, I felt my responsibility to address the issue. An example of that was I had what's called a couples massage with another therapist, which means there are two therapists in the same room, massaging two separate clients. Well, the male therapist that was in the room with me massaging a female client, I felt did some ethically questionable movements. And now, why I didn't say anything during the service because it was inappropriate to do so, I felt it my responsibility to address that as soon as the service was over. And in that particular instance, I had to go straight to my manager because then you're looking at potential legal issues that could have taken place. So I had to let her know this was not okay. And I don't know if the customer was going to complain, but I had to be proactive in that capacity. So for me, that's how I kind of deal with having to make a tough decision. That was not necessarily an easy one because I knew he could lose his job, but it was absolutely mandatory. My next question is, how would I describe my work ethic? I have a very high work ethic. I was raised to believe that what I present is how it represents me. So if I give my best effort each and every time, that it has a good reflection on me. If I give a poor effort, that is also going to be a reflection of me. I'm not afraid to work. And if I don't have enough to do, or I have completed my assignment, then what I will do at that point is go to my supervisor and say, hey, I've completed this. Is there something else that I need, that I can do, that can be of assistance to you? This way that they see I'm not trying to shy away from work. I'm not trying to give the presentation of I'm not working, or I'm lollygagging at my job. When I'm at work, I want them to understand and to know without question that I'm there 100% each and every day, no matter what. I'm going to always give my best effort. Okay, the next question is why should we hire you and not somebody who also has your same qualifications? Well, the answer to that would be I've been working in some shape, form, or capacity since I was 15 years old, constantly. And where I might have some of the similar experience as someone else as far as my work history goes, I bring to the table a level of wisdom that I can also bring to this bring to this position. I do have personal experiences that I can pull from, in addition to a plethora of work experience. Not all might be within this particular job description, or in this under the auspice of healthcare per se, but a lot of the skill sets that I have learned, communication, written, they have been fostered and fed over the years, and I bring to the table that level of experience along with just my life experience, and I might have that beat on someone else that might be applying for this job. My next question is, I'm sorry for the delay. My next question is, have I ever been reprimanded for something that I did wrong on the job? That answer is yes. I think everybody has had, if you're honest anyway, everybody has had some level of reprimand on a job. I believe it's how you take that reprimand and what you do with it that makes all the difference in the world. For me, I listen and I hear what's being said. Things that are not clear for me, I ask questions, because to me, I look at it as a learning tool. I want to build on it so that I don't repeat that mistake. I may make new mistakes, but I don't want to repeat that mistake. So I'm going to ask questions just for clarifications so that I understand what is expected of me in that area, and I will make the modification. I don't take that as a personal attack on me or my character, but it's simply about the job that has been assigned to me, and if I'm not doing something effectively, I need to know that so that I can correct it. So yes, I have been reprimanded and I have made corrections. So and again, I have no qualms about receiving that reprimand. As long as it's coming to me in a professional way, they're going to get a professional response. That's just how it is. My next question is, have you ever had to handle, have I ever had to handle an irate customer, and what happened? I've had many irate customers over the years. I had an experience when I was in retail, many years ago, where I was working at a retail establishment and the customer was wanting something of me that I couldn't provide them, and they got angry, and she began to berate me and curse me, and I let her say what she needed to say, and I told her I'm going to go get my manager, because at that point I was very young. I was about 20 years old or so. I didn't have the experience to neutralize her at that point. I just knew that I wasn't going to allow her to talk to me in that manner, so I let her complete her sentence and stopped her. And I told her I needed to get my manager, and I'll allow her to speak to my manager. As time has gone on, I have learned the key with irate customers is to listen. Listen, listen, listen. Because so often we as human beings tend to expect what they're going to say as opposed to listening to what they are saying. So for me, I listen and then I find what he or she is trying to say. I repeat that back to them so that they know that I understand what the problem is. And then I go about trying to solve that problem and find out if that is met to their satisfaction. And if it's not, then what can I do to make it better? And a lot of times when they feel as though you understand them and that you are hearing them, they tend to bring down the level of anger and really begin to communicate what their needs are. And so that's how I tend to deal with irate customers now. So I don't allow them to upset me to that same level. I just listen. What I've learned in all of my years is that above all else, the most effective communication tool is listening. And so for me, I listen and then I act. And my final question is, are you a self-starter? Can you give me an example of a time when you have taken initiative? Yes, I am a self-starter. In the job that I work with currently, I'm often by myself. I work as an administrative assistant, but quite a number of the athletic trainers that I work with are on site at various schools. So I'm doing a lot of communication with them via email most of the time. My boss is in and out, and so I have a lot of time for myself. So what I have to do so that I don't get bored and get complacent is I make a list of the things that need to be done, and I get those done first in a day. I look at projects that I can orchestrate for myself that would make my job be a little bit easier and more effective. And there's something that others can use, they can use to their benefit. So, for instance, I know annually we do a program where we offer physicals for the students. Okay, and then we work with 5 schools. And it's a big production because we have to get volunteers for doctors, all different types of specialties, internal medicine, cardiologist, dentist, orthopedist. So I know going in that I have to orchestrate those doctors to get commitments from them to commit to a date. Which day that they might be able to participate in the physicals. I know that, and then I also know that there's a group of volunteers that helps us manage the students and the lines and moving them from one station to another. So knowing this going in, I try to have a project so that I organize based off of the last round of physicals, what went right, what went wrong, and then I set a system in place so that the next year could be a little bit more efficient. And these are the type of things that I'm able to do, whether I have my boss there or not. So I try to find things that are productive for me and keeps me busy without having to call my boss or go ask my boss every 2 minutes, well, what do you need next? Well, what do you need next? I know what needs to happen, and I get that done. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing back from you.